So Meghan had stayed very silent during his trip to the UK, which is a bit of time ago, a while ago now. But on Harry's 41st birthday, which was on Monday, she returned to Instagram, exploded with this photograph of Harry. I think it was taken from about 15 to 20 years ago.
It was
Samara.
about 2009, he joined the Army Air Corps. He's in an Army Air Corps overalls.
Yeah.
So from that...
It's the last time he had hair. That's when that photo was taken. It's very old.
What did you make of that picture? Because a girlfriend of mine said that it struck her that it was almost a passive-aggressive way. She views it as, I felt that way. I had an argument with my husband once and I didn't want to send a really nice message. And she sees it as her perspective that Meghan was maybe having a little bit of a pop at Harry because she didn't choose the greatest picture, didn't choose a modern picture, didn't use a photo of them together. And it was just a very short little message. Or am I reading too much into that Instagram post?
I don't think you're reading too much into it at all. I think there's a lot to pick up on there. Even the caption itself was extremely bare. It was sort of, oh, hi, happy birthday. I mean, it's so random for all that they've been through together and, you know, their struggle that they proclaim to have, to sort of put such a barefaced, like, Instagram post. It didn't make any sense at all. And I do think that there is trouble brewing under the surface, because even in the Guardian interview, he only mentioned her basically barely. I think maybe she got one mention. And I just think that there's something there. She wouldn't have posted that for no reason. And I don't think, you know, he is very much her spare in that relationship. And I think she was getting very upset over there in Montecito, seeing him get all the coverage, be the glittering royal. She had to take focus away from him by posting that.
You know, if you're going to do a birthday picture, then it's a birthday picture with Harry and the kids. That's a birthday picture, if everything is all rosy in Montecito, which, as Samara says, big question mark over, is it rosy?
Are the roses in the garden of the Montecito?
Oh, the petals, you know, all those petals that are disappearing off the roses, going on to food.
Now, obviously, Harry, back in the past, he was, you know, the visitor from America that came over, spent, you know, grabbed all the headlines, spent a lot of time in the UK and got to meet the King. The King had another special American visitor, well, two special American visitors, President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania. Dickie, you, in your time, have had dozens of state visits, incoming and outgoing abroad, and, you know, state visits coming into the UK. I was in Windsor for quite a long time, very long days down there reporting on Trump and Melania's visit. How do you think it went? Was it a successful trip? Looking at everything that happened, the state banquet to the carriage ride, where do you stand on Trump's visit?
It was so successful, it's gone off the charts. I mean, what you had in that state visit has never happened for an American president before. You had a carriage drive, never happened before. All right, it was in a sanitised area of the castle on the estate, so it was controllable, but it has never happened before. You had a retreat ceremony, never happened before. A fly past, never happened before. Unfortunately, the F-35s of the RAF and the USF couldn't fly because of bad weather, but there were still the Red Arrows. Never happened before. Every other thing were set pieces. What you did have were sort of side visits. Normally on a state visit, when the visitor is at Buckingham Palace or even Windsor Castle, they go to Downing Street, they go to the Houses of Parliament, they go to Westminster Abbey to lay a wreath on the tomb of the unknown warrior. President Trump laid a wreath on the tomb of late Queen Elizabeth II. He listened to the choir. He interacted with the choristers. That's something that's never happened before. So there were a lot of firsts on that. Trump went away a very, very happy boy. He had all his toys in the pram. He didn't throw anything out. He was on his best behaviour. He joked with the King. I mean, it was amazing how tactile the two men were.
They seem to get on, right?
They got on so well. I mean, they got on when he was here in 2019, when they met at Clarence House. But they got on extremely well, and they were joking. Even at the time of having inspected the Guard of Honour, the King warns Mr. Trump to be careful of the sword as the Guard commander was saluting his departure. It was an amazing visit. And you mentioned Melania, you mentioned the Princess of Wales. They were stunning. They stood out. They were absolutely stunning. But it went off better than clockwork. better than anybody could have imagined, because there were all sorts of doubts about how it would work, given Mr. Trump's the way he interacts with people. I mean, even yesterday's news conference at Chequers, he and Sir Keir got on extremely well. It shows that Sir Keir is good on foreign affairs. He's not very good on domestic affairs, but the two men actually interacted with each other.
I thought King and we'll get on to Melania and Catherine in a bit, because I thought that relationship was wonderful. But I thought the King and Trump, watching them in person and seeing them, as you say, just natural, and just how important is it that the King and Trump got on? And I'll just talk about the banquet just briefly. Trump, when he was giving his speech, sitting next to the King, he was saying that the King has epitomised the fortitude, nobility and spirit of the British people. There was a proper love in there between King and the President.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're so similar in some ways, and I think that there was a real, to compare and contrast the first state visit with the Queen. He had admiration for the Queen. He looked up to her, but I feel like with this visit with the King, it was much more of a pal relationship and something that could really be built upon. And I think this is really Britain at its best when you see these visits happen, and I think it has been really good to show off our nation like that to Trump. And I think for diplomatic relations, it couldn't have gone better, as you said, Dickie. So I think, I just think that with them and that relationship, I think it will continue. But he looked forward to his relationship that he will have with William as well in the future, which was really interesting.
Well, that was key. So William and Catherine had a little private cup of tea, I think, or it was a private tea, but they had a private moment after lunch. And yeah, Trump was gushing about William and Catherine. I think he'd called Catherine radiant and beautiful and looking healthy. But I just want to pick up, we're talking about diplomacy. I just want to pick up, when we were listening to the speech, was just one element, and I want to get your thoughts on this. When Donald Trump turned to William and said it's really amazing, and he said, His Majesty has also raised a remarkable son in His Royal Highness Prince of Wales. Didn't mention Harry.
Yeah.
Are we reading too much into that?
I don't think you should read too much into that. I mean, William was there. William is the heir to the throne. He knows William. He doesn't know Harry, hasn't met Harry, but he knows William. He's met William on several occasions. So, yes, he was referring to William as a remarkable son because he is the man who is eventually going to be our sovereign. Later rather than sooner. But I don't think we should read too much into Trump ignoring Harry. Harry wasn't on the radar as far as the state visit is concerned.